Good morning students. Welcome back to the second session of the chapter ORU MANUSHYAN written by Vaikom Muhammad Bashir. Yes, in our previous class we learnt about the place where author lived, that is a very big city in the valley of a mountain, and also we learnt about people who lived in that place. They were very cruel. They could go to any extent in order to make money. Money was highly valued there. These people were ready even to kill somebody for the sake of money. Pickpocketing, robbery was daily occurrences there. And also we learnt about author's daily routine. That every day author used to wake up 4 in the evening and he used to teach migrant laborers to write address in English. Whereas during that time, learning to write address was considered to be highly educated. In post offices, there were people who were appointed just to write address in English, and they were paid somewhere between 1 anna to 4 annas. So this much we learnt in our previous class. Yes, we will continue the lesson. Open page number 32 and we'll continue the class. One day I got up at 4 p.m. as usual. I finished my daily chores and stepped out for my tea and a meal. You must understand that I was dressed in a suit. I had a wallet in my coat pocket. I had 14 rupees in it. My life's savings at that time. So students, we already know the daily routine of our author. So as usual, every day, he woke up at 4 in the evening, finishes his daily chores. After finishing his daily chores, he will go out in order to have his meal and a tea. And he was dressed in a suit. He was wearing a suit. So here he was wearing a suit in order to show or in order to project himself as if he is a sophisticated man. So because of that, he was wearing a suit. He wears a suit and he steps out, which means he will go out in order to have his meal and a cup of tea. And without forgetting, he takes his wallet. In his wallet or in his purse, he had 14 rupees. This 14 rupees, that is his life's savings. It is the money which he saved by not having morning tea and his afternoon meal for a long time. So he had altogether, he had 14 rupees in his wallet, and without forgetting, he put that wallet in his suit's pocket and he will go out in order to have his dinner or a meal. I entered a crowded restaurant. I ate a full meal consisting of chapatis and meat curry. I drank tea as well. The bill came to 11 annas. And for meal, he goes to a busy restaurant. He must have been a regular customer there. So we know this because we have already learnt about his routine. So every day he used to go at that time to have his meal. Maybe for the same hotel he used to go every day. So he goes to a busy restaurant. He orders his usual meal, that is chapatis with meat curry. Along with that, he also orders a cup of tea. He will have stomach full. After having, he asks for a bill. The bill came up to 11 annas, that is less than a rupee. I put my hand in my coat pocket to pay it. I began sweating profusely and almost digested in an instant all that I had eaten. The reason was my wallet was not there. So when he had to pay 11 annas for the full meal, he puts his hand in his pocket. When he puts his hand in a pocket, then he realizes that his purse is missing or his wallet is missing. Somebody had picked his pocket and taken away his purse. When he realizes that there is no purse in his pocket, he starts sweating profusely, which means he will start sweating very heavily in a great quantity. And whatever food he had eaten, everything digested instantly. In that minute, when he realizes that his purse or his wallet is missing, whatever he had eaten, everything will be digested. Because it's a busy restaurant. In that busy restaurant, it is very difficult to make out who has taken his purse or who has stolen his purse. And also those people were very cruel. And moreover, he knew no one there. So he had no friends, he had no family, he had nobody to help him out. So he was scared and he starts sweating. I said, someone has picked my pocket and taken away my wallet. After he realizing that his purse is missing, he would have simply escaped. He would have simply walked out of the restaurant since it is very busy. But Arthur will not do that. Instead, he goes to the owner of the restaurant and he tells very slowly to the owner that his purse is missing, that somebody has picked his pocket and taken away his wallet. What do you think will happen? Do you think the owner would excuse him and let him go? We don't know. We'll see what will happen to the author. It was a very busy restaurant. The owner gave a loud guffaw, startling everyone around. He caught me by the lapels of my coat and shaking me cried, "This trick won't work here. Put the money down and go, or else I will gouge your eyes out." So, when author informs owner that his purse has been stolen or somebody had picked his pocket and taken away the purse, he assumed that owner will understand his plight. He will give him chance. He will help him out. But instead, he will laugh loudly. He will laugh so loud that everyone in the restaurant will turn towards them to check what is happening. It was a busy restaurant. The restaurant was filled with customers. So all these customers, they started to look at these two. They started to look at their direction. He thought the owner will understand his situation. Instead, he will catch hold of his lapels. Lapels in the sense collar. He will catch hold of his collar and frightens him, saying that if you do not pay now, he is going to gouge his eyes out, which means he is going to take both of eyes out. Like that, he will frighten the author. Author will request him so much, asking him to trust him, but owner will not trust him. Instead, he feels that author is trying to cheat him. So he will not trust his words. Instead, he will ask him, or he frightens him to pay the bill, that is 11 annas. I looked at the people around me. I did not see even one kind face. They had the look of hungry wolves. As we know, it was a busy restaurant. The restaurant was filled with so many customers. He thought that somebody would come to rescue him or help him. But nobody comes, nobody turns to help him out. Nobody feels like they're going to sympathize with the author. Instead, they had a look of a hungry wolves. There were so many people around, but nobody came forward to help author. When owner was abusing him, making fun of the author, nobody comes forward to help him. Rather, everybody was staring at the author as if they are going to attack him. Nobody appeared to sympathize with him. I said, "Let my coat be here. I will go and bring some money." So author will try to convince the owner. How much ever time or in whatever way he tries to convince the owner, he will not get convinced. Then he decides, okay, so he will ask the owner that he would keep his coat as a surety or a guarantee, so that he would go out and get the money and get the required money to pay the bill. The restaurant keeper laughed again. He asked me to take off my coat. I took off my coat. He asked me to take off my shirt. I took off my shirt. He asked me to take off both my shoes. I took off both shoes. Finally, he asked me to take off my trousers. So, the idea seemed to be to strip me, gouge out my eyes and send me out naked. When author requests him so much, he overreacts. He gives the narrator no chance at all. It is as if all those who claimed to have lost their purse are liars. So even when narrator asks him to keep the coat, he shows no mercy or lenience. He comes out to be a cruel man who has no pity at all for people with problems. However, we cannot even blame the owner of the restaurant, because there is the possibility that he has turned out to be so cruel after maybe some bitter experiences. Maybe the owner was cheated by telling cock and bull stories of losing the purse by others. So maybe over the years he has lost his gentleness, and hence he goes to the extent of ill-treating such people so that others wouldn't dare to come up with lies. So we don't know. There is all those possibilities. But when author requested him that he would go out to bring the money, he will not give him any chance at all. Instead, he will ask him to remove his coat. Poor author, without any option, he will remove his coat. Later, he will ask him to remove his shirt. He does it. He will remove his shirt and he will keep it aside. Then he will ask him to remove his shoes. He will remove both the shoes. When the owner asks him to remove his trousers, then he realizes that this owner is not going to let me out. He is not going to let me free. Instead, he feels that he has an idea to strip him naked. He feels that he wants him to send him home naked with his eyes out. He'll be so frightened. Author will be so frightened, and he was humiliated in front of so many people. When he was being humiliated in front of so many people, none of them turned or none of them came forward to help him out. He will just listen whatever owner wanted him to do. But he was reluctant to remove his trousers. We'll see what will happen to the poor Bashir. I have nothing on underneath. Everyone laughed. The restaurant keeper said, I doubt it. If you must have something on underneath. About 50 people repeated. There must be something on underneath. When the owner wants the speaker to remove his trouser, he was very much reluctant. That is because he had nothing underneath. So the speaker pleads with him for mercy, saying he has nothing underneath. But the owner won't believe him. Rather, he tells him that maybe there is something that you have hidden. But the owner won't believe him. Rather, he will insist him to remove his trousers too, thinking he has maybe hidden something, or he has hidden money somewhere inside. And he will not understand the author's plight. So when author says there is nothing underneath, everyone in the restaurant, they will laugh. And along with the owner, 50 other people mocks him, saying that maybe there is something underneath, that's why he is not removing. Like that, everyone in the restaurant will mock the author. So everyone in the restaurant will mock him and forces him to remove his trousers too. My hands refused to move. I saw in my imagination a man standing in the crowd, stark naked and without his eyes. Life was going to end like that. Let it end. And for all this, I never mind. O Creator of the world, my God, I had nothing to say. Everything would end. Everything would end to the satisfaction of all. If he didn't want to send the author off without paying a bill, he had other options too. He would have made author to work in his restaurant to make up to 11 annas. Instead, he will decide to humiliate the author. Author wasn't ready to remove his trousers, and he saw himself standing naked in front of so many people with his eyes out. And he will start praying God that whatever it is. So he prays to God that I have nothing to say. If this has to happen in this way, let it happen. Let it end in this way. But I have nothing to say anything about this. Let everything end for the satisfaction of all these people. So let it happen. If those people are going to feel satisfaction by this, let it happen. Like that he will pray to God. So this was such a pathetic condition. So he was humiliated and insulted in front of so many people. But nobody came forward. So we'll stop our class today and we will continue in the next session. We'll see whether author will remove his trousers too and get more humiliated, or will anyone save him from this disaster. We'll check it in our next session. Thank you.